Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. It is our Thursdays 13 episode. That's right. Every day we have a theme, and today's theme is having a partly invisible chair. My chair is partly invisible. And we're having a list here of songs that mention Memphis. Memphis is a very popular city, I guess, to mention in song or reference in song. So we're going to talk
Memphis,
about that
Tennessee. Also, there's a Memphis in ancient Greece. I don't know if it still exists.
That's true.
Anyway.
That's true. The original Memphis was. Welcome to Before Coffee, the father and daughter comprehensive news of Planet Earth podcast, where we look at our stories 10 to 15 minutes before we started. We haven't had any caffeine. We're drinking it now, and we're learning how to read not only headlines, but entire news stories live on stream. Let's get into the headlines for today's show. Today, on Thursdays 13, Heathrow considering legal action against National Grid over the fire that happened a couple months back.
And this is Roger from the United States, and Thursday we have a report about the private sector losing jobs in June in the United States.
Ukraine news, advocates are urging protection of landmine treaty.
And it's Thursday 13, we're going to talk about the 13 songs that 13, and there's thousands of them apparently, 13 songs that mention Memphis.
In our culture news, Fontaines DC bring pro-Palestinian group on stage at Roskilde Festival in Denmark.
And it's National Compliment Your Mirror Day. So, hey, you look great. Have you lost weight, you handsome devil? On July 3rd, 2025 on Before Coffee. I rarely look in the mirror. I do look in this camera here, though, to fix my hair. But the camera's not a mirror. The mirror lies.
No.
The mirror is flips you around. It gives you a different image of what you actually look
It's actually
like.
really
So,
scary
mirror's
to
a
see
liar.
yourself non-mirrored for the first time. You're like, who the hell is that? Because you're so used to seeing
If you
yourself
part
in a
your hair
mirror.
on one side, right? If you're like me, when I was a kid, I parted my hair on one side, and then I saw a picture of myself, and I'm like, what's my hair doing on the other side?
Oh, I forgot to put my hair in the right spot. What the hell? Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Who combed my hair for that?
Complimenting yourself in the mirror, or I guess complimenting the mirror, is probably the easiest mood booster you can do in your life.
No.
And for some people, it is a bit awkward, right? They just don't have the highest of self-esteem. So even saying, I like your eyes, to a difficulty. But if you're able to walk up that steep hill of kind of being a little conceited and narcissistic and complimenting yourself in the mirror, I'm telling you, the biggest mood boost you'll ever have. You'll probably be over. Okay, it's enough talking about that.
If you got a tattoo on your forehead and you do it yourself, don't do it in the mirror because you're going to do it backwards.
It's going to be the wrong way.
All right. Why is it say loser backwards on your forehead? Anyway.
If it's a palindrome, it's okay. Race car, you can write race car.
Palindromes. Although palindromes have the letters will be backwards, but whatever.
Oh, that's true. It can't be race car then.
But if it's loser, if you just put a little word loser on your head, that really says a lot, doesn't it? Anyway.
There are words that when you reverse them in a palindrome, they're also the right way around too. But I can't remember the word for that. Some nerd speak there. Our first segue is going to be a limerick, so hope you're had enough coffee.
Reminds me of the lady. Limerick, holy crap. No, I got to write. Okay. I was just going to I was reminiscing about, remember Obama, there was a girl when Obama got elected, she into her forehead to say she was attacked by two black men and carved it into her head or whatever. She carved it backwards. Like she did it in the mirror.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
you're gonna fake somebody attacking you. Don't carve the shit in the mirror. Have a friend do it.
He's got a friend to do it for you if you want to blackmail.
You're carving shit in your forehead. They're gonna go arrest some people that don't exist. Got it. All right, you proved the point. Morons are stupid. That's the universe.
Nobody's beating up people and carving stuff in their forehead. All right, speaking of none of this is related to my story, we're going to talk about Heathrow I don't remember when this was, maybe back in March, maybe tell me when this happened, but yes, back in March, there was a fire at Heathrow in one of the power stations. It got blown out, and they had to shut down the airport for only a day, but airports make their money all day long, so they lost a lot of money, and Heathrow is now considering legal action against the national grid over the fire. By Ben King and Faria Massoud.
They can do that?
The transport correspondent in business reported on BBC. Heathrow Airport is considering legal action against National Grid after a report found the fire which caused the airport to shut down was a result of a known fault at the electric substation. I think we even talked about that story, right, where we found out what actually happened. The investigation found that the National Grid, which owns the substation and supplies Heathrow, had been aware of a problem since 2018, but failed to fix it. Typical austerity measures, yeah. Corporations own the country and they don't have to regulate themselves.
Next quarter.
Yeah, we're going to lose money if we do maintenance, right? It's like that job you had, right? Oh, we're losing money on your maintenance job. It's like, yeah, that's what maintenance is. You use money to make sure things work, so that you can make money. If you get rid of the maintenance, well, this is what happens. There are numerous opportunities to rectify the moisture affecting electrical parts on the North Hyde substation, but maintenance was repeatedly deferred. The report said, wait till next quarter. Wait till next quarter. Oh shit, it's 2 years later and we still haven't fixed it. Heathrow told the BBC National Grid, sorry, did I say 2 years later? That's wrong. I mean 5 years. 7 years later. 7 years later. They finally were like, oh, maybe we should have fixed that. Heathrow told the BBC National Grid could and should have prevented fire and that expected to take accountability for those failings. Those failings that resulted in significant damage and loss for Heathrow and our airlines, as added. The National Grid said it had taken action since the fire. Okay, well, the fire already happened. Well, we fixed it now! We fixed it now that it happened. They'd taken action since the 20th of March, but said such events were rare that Britain had one of the most reliable networks in the world that had not yet responded to Heathrow. Peace. Following the report being released on Wednesday, energy watchdog Ofgem has launched its own investigation into the national grid. Heathrow, the UK's biggest airport and worst airport. Don't go there. I'm sorry. I'm a hater. Not go to Heathrow. You can avoid Heathrow, just avoid it. They make you pay for the internet there. Or maybe they changed that now, but when I went there in 2019, sorry, not 2019, 2012, the first time I went there, not only did they put me in jail for being 19 and traveling by myself, because that's illegal now, they thought I was drug smuggling, probably, because I'm racist. But also, they make you pay for the internet there. And that was the worst thing. It's like 2012 when we're making people pay for the internet. Airport. I'm sure they've changed that now. Heathrow, the UK's biggest airport, shut down as a result of the power cut, which led to thousands of cancelled flights and stranded passengers. National Energy System Operator NESO, or NESO, said moisture entering the electrical lines at the substation caused the blaze. That's right, water has minerals in it. Some of those minerals, like electricity, cause a short circuit, even a fire. It said elevated moisture had been detected on July 2018, and that under National Grid's guidance, such readings an imminent fault and that the bushing should be replaced. You know what's weird about this? What happened in 2020 to 2022? Complete shutdown of airlines, right? Nobody was running airlines in those years. That was 2-ish, 3-ish years, right? To fix this problem. Hey, well, we're losing money not having any flights. We might as well do some maintenance. Nope, just completely ignored it. Coatings is an insulating material used around electrical parts to make sure, they don't touch moisture and cause fires. But it said that the issue went unaddressed and basic maintenance problem in 2022. Good. More than 270,000 journeys were affected by Heathrow. Down 270,000. And the impact was also felt beyond the airport with essential services in road, rail, and Hillingdon Hospital affected. Airlines based at Heathrow have said the closure on the 21st of March cost the carriers 80 million to 100 million pounds. Don't worry though, the government's taxes, because airlines are too big to fail, just like the banks. Power failure and subsequent closure of the UK's busiest airport has raised wider questions about the UK's
pay back those loans.
Yeah. Don't pay back the loans. Feel like,
don't pay it back. You don't even care. Just take money and go away.
This has raised a wider question about the UK's major infrastructure resilience, more like need for some sort of regulation, maybe a fine if you don't repair. I think you should just be forced to do maintenance every year. I don't think that's crazy. Did you do your yearly maintenance?
Hey, yeah, semi-annual actually.
Yeah.
Why wait a year? Preventive maintenance saves money, and businesses never want to acknowledge that because they don't want to. Anyway.
Yeah, you're right. Right. Also, you're cutting off a little bit. I don't know if you could stuff in the background or anything. After your limerick, I think.
Yeah.
But yes, I think there should be some sort of like semi-annual maintenance, and then you have to, if you don't do it, right? Like the government has to make sure you're doing it, and if you don't do it, you have to get fined. Like you do maintenance on all these places. Of course, the problem is you have to have somebody who's in charge of making sure the airlines and the electricity people and everyone who has to do maintenance and that costs more money, right? The government. Oh, we have to have the maintenance industry or something. Right. Fontaine slide.
You got to point fingers. Okay?
Yeah, for sure. You have to have somebody to point the fingers. Maybe multiple people.
Yeah, it's usually somebody that's not making a lot of money. Somebody's not making a lot of money who's expendable, so nobody really rich has to suffer.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's never going to be a rich guy. I guarantee it. It's never going to be anybody in charge. Right? It's going to be some fucking lowlife.
Fontaine Sly, Nestle's chief executive, told the BBC Today programme that while the report did not set out the appropriate blame, National Grid was responsible for the maintenance of the equipment and making sure it is for operation. The report found that National Grid did not know how crucial the North Hyde substation was to Heathrow, even though the airport did know. Oh, we really need that substation. But you didn't tell us. We would have done better maintenance on it. So, when they identified those moisture levels back in 2018, what should have happened is that the transformer should have been taken out of service for a short period of time, the fault effectively repaired, he said. That was missed. Moisture got worse over time, and ultimately, that's what caused the fire to happen. The story of our report really is probably one of missed opportunities. So if only the company who supplies power to Heathrow and Heathrow itself could have talked to each other. It's bad. Communication is difficult with our Wi-Fi and our emails and phones.
Why would I talk to somebody else? I don't like him. He smells funny.
After announcing its investigation into National Grid, Shay Cowell, Director General for Infrastructure at Ofgem, said it's expected energy companies to probably maintain their equipment and networks prevent events like this happening. When there's evidence that they have not, we will take action and hold companies fully to account. I think 7 years of maintenance is definitely. Sorry, National Grid, you're going to have to take the hit on this one. National Grid said it had a comprehensive asset inspection and maintenance program in place, and it said this included retesting the resilience of substations that serve strategic infrastructure, and added it would cooperate with Ofgem's investigation. Mr. Sly said, as well as the substation fault, there was also a potential missed opportunity at Heathrow to maximize its energy resilience. Wow, you guys relied way too much on that northern substation, and your entire airport exploded. That's probably not good either. Yeah, I think that's what Mr. Sly is trying to play both sides. Right? You're both at fault. Probably true. It's easier to blame one person than say, you know what, maybe we could have done something better ourselves. The report also said it was not known to the energy companies that the loss of one of the electrical supply points, Heathrow has 3, would result in power outage of some of the airport's critical systems. They definitely should have those on an emergency power. You're gonna have to worry about, oh crap, our radio's gone down. Now we can't tell planes not to crash into each other. Oh shit, maybe we should have that on a generator. The review also found that energy network operators are not generally aware whether customers the networks like that's enough. They're gonna have to put in. Please make sure you tell people, hey, your substation is connected to all the hospitals in the region. Make sure you don't let it explode. Yes, we will. We will make sure that all the hospitals don't lose power. We didn't know we were connected to all the hospitals in the London area. Yeah, I have to agree with that.
Right.
Maybe let them know you're connecting them. We're using that substation for a very important thing, by the way. Oh, thanks for letting us know. I hope I gave you enough time to write a limerick for that.
Yeah, I've been done for a while.
All right, awesome. Give it to me.
No, so I read it, huh? Okay, let's go. All right, it goes. The Heathrow fire was no joke. Flights canceled and world travel broke. Now it's time to point fingers at electrical riggers, and nobody anywhere wants any of that smoke.
Hey, I love. It's always great. It's always great on the rig. There's something great about rhyming, I think rhyming is very cool.
Yeah.
But hopefully no more smoke coming from this substation. They better check the other substations too, I guess, around the Heathrow airport before they get another legal inquiry from Heathrow. Let's roll our takeaway wheel for our next story.
Humans ain't good at solutions, but we're really good at blaming. It's our number one thing we do. Well, I don't know what caused it, but I know who to blame, even if I don't know what caused it. Makes no sense whatsoever. All right, more
poetry here. I'm going to have a haiku for you. Your story?
Poetry. Okay, you got a haiku about a jobs report. So we got that going for
right,
us.
You said there, yeah.
I got to make...
Things are going down.
I got to make notes on these. Because we had our economic forecaster. We recently hired. Her name was Rosie Scenario, and she got it wrong. Well, Rosie.
Rosie Scenario.
She's always optimistic. This is from CNBC.com. Alex Haring. Let's see. The headline says, the private sector lost 33,000 jobs in June, badly missing expectations for 100,000 increase, ADP says. Of course, jobs have to increase each month because people increase each month. Even though the birth rate has gone down. Yeah, people do increase and people enter the job market each month. And if there's no jobs for them, especially like, let's say everybody graduates in May and hey, no jobs. And right away we got, stagnation and no jobs and people laying off. And well, if you're not creating jobs, you're losing jobs. If you're creating no jobs, you're still losing jobs because, as I said, the population grows. Private sector hiring unexpectedly contracted in June. Payrolls processing firm ADP said Wednesday, in a possible sign that the economy may not be as sturdy as investors believe as they bid the S&P 500 back up to record territory to end the month. Yeah. Again, stock market is not an indicator of the health of the economy. It's indicating how much wealth the really rich people are skimming from the economy. That's what it is. But anyway, private payrolls lost 33,000 jobs in June. The ADP report showed the first decrease since May 23. Economists polled by Dow Jones forecast an increase of $100,000 for the month. But Dow Jones is a private sector company that's trying to promote themselves. So who cares what they forecast? I'm just saying. Dow Jones doesn't make money without, people buying stocks. The May job growth figure was raised even lower to just 29,000 jobs added from 37,000. So they claim they added 37 in May, but actually they didn't. It was 29 added, which is not helping because, again, you have to add more jobs than that every month. Though layoffs continue to be rare, a hesitancy to hire and a reluctance to replace departing workers led to job losses last month, Neil Richardson said. Yes, that's right. You don't have to have layoffs because people quit. Like me. I quit. I said, fuck this place. Though layoffs continue to be rare, hesitancy to hire and reluctance to departing workers, blah, blah, blah. Neil Richardson's ADP chief economist said in a press release published Wednesday morning. To be sure, the ADP report has a spotty track record on predicting the subsequent government jobs report, which investors tend to weigh more heavily. May's soft ADP data ended up differing significantly from monthly job report figures that came later in the week. This week, the government's non-farm payroll report on Thursday, with economists expecting a healthy 110,000 increase for June. But that's today, I guess. I guess it is not out yet, maybe. Per Dow Jones estimates, economists are expecting the unemployment rate to tick higher to 4.3, 4.2. Some economists could revise down their jobs report estimates around the ADP's data. Weekly jobless claims data also due Thursday, which is today, with the economists penciling in $240,000. They're penciling it in, thinking that's what's going to happen. This string of labor stats comes during a shortened trading week, with the market closing early on Thursday and remaining dark on Friday in honor of the 4th of July. The bulk of job losses came in service roles tied to professional and business services and health and education. According to ADP, professional business services notched a decline of 56,000, while health/education saw a net loss of 52,000. Financial activity roles also contributed to a month's decline, with a drop of 14,000 on balance, but the contraction was capped by payroll expansions and goods-producing roles across the industries such as manufacturing and mining. Altogether, goods-producing positions grew by 32,000 in a month, while payrolls for service roles overall fell by 66,000. The Midwest and the U.S. saw the strongest contractions in June, declining by 24,000 and 20,000. Respectively. Meanwhile, the Northeast shed 3,000 roles. I guess roles means jobs. The Southern U.S. was the sole region tracked by ADP to see payrolls expand net in the month, according to an increase of 13,000 positions. The smallest firms tended to see more job losses in a month than the larger counterparts. In fact, businesses with more than 500 employees saw the biggest payroll growth in a month, with an increase of 30,000 per ADP. By comparison, businesses with fewer than 20 employees accounted for 29,000 lost roles on net. Annual income growth decreased modestly from May for both job stayers and hoppers. Stayers and hoppers. You got two groups, the stayers and the hoppers. The rate of pay increase for those staying at jobs ticked down from 4.4 to 4.5, while those getting new roles slid from 6.8 to 7%. The S&P is up more than 4% this year.
The sliders.
Yeah. So there's your jobs report. As what's that?
I just said the stairs, the hoppers, and the sliders. Everyone's moving. We're not moving yet.
Right. Everybody's moving. Anyway, there's your weird jobs report where everybody contradicts each other and tries to guess. And of course, we can't trust the government anymore. So they're probably going to lie to us because, a bunch of incompetent people are there to forward a political agenda and not make the government run smoothly. So who knows what they're going to come up with in the government, but private industry does try to fill in the cracks. And right now we're seeing job losses and job predictions falling short as our economy is contracting. Don't forget, the first quarter was a net loss for gross domestic product. The second quarter just ended on Monday, so we should be getting those figures soon. Back to you for your haiku.
Woohoo! And also, I do want to go back to the original thing you were saying at the beginning of your article. Populations are going down. Wow. Still need workers, and of course, the reason we also need workers is because corporations still want to keep increasing, and making more and more money. So they keep on increasing how many more people they need working for them, but those people don't exist. Those people don't exist. I'm sure there's probably a graph somewhere, right, you can find that somebody's made where they're like, amount of growth corporations want, amount of people you need to get that growth, and it's like very exponential, maybe, very there. Then population, very plateaued, Where are we getting these people from? Immigration, of course. We're getting these people from immigration.
Yep. At some point, we're gonna reach a trigger that's gonna cause what's called stagflation, where there's no economic growth and inflation. Yep. That's what we're headed for.
Yep. Sadly.
Yep.
Here is my haiku.
It all starts with people not working.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Shadows of labor echoes through the crowded streets. Hands reach for the sky. Oh God! Somebody give me a job. But not that job. I don't want to do that job. That job's soul crushing. I mean, I kind of wish that would happen, Right now, I do feel like corporations have the higher, like, have all power, right? I need a job to live. Oh, the only jobs you can do around here are work at a factory, work at a food service, or start basking on the street. Oh shit. Well, I need to work one of those, and none of those make me want to be alive, but I need money. So, and that's what it feels like right now. It feels like people aren't allowed to work, live to work. Yeah. They live to work instead of work to live. You know.
All the workers that are doing what to do, and there's actually nobody to replace them.
Yeah.
There is nobody. It's like, oh yeah, construction workers. Well, they hire some Americans. Okay, where are these Americans they're gonna hire? Where are they? Where are they? Where are they? They don't exist. They just don't exist, man. They're working jobs that nobody wants, and Americans are going, I'll work that job if I can't get a job anywhere else. But that's
what I'm saying, right? There's these jobs that nobody wants, and instead of that company going bankrupt or whatever, right? Your corporation's working. Nobody wants to do your job. Goodbye. That would be the free market. The free market would be like, nobody wants to work for you. You can't make money. Your company's bust. Bye. But that's not what's happening, right?
And it pisses me off. I'm a sports fan. It pisses me off when stupid sports fans always side with their favorite team instead of the players, right? And any dispute. It's like, that owner don't give a shit about you. I know the player probably doesn't either, but the owner is going to pack up and move his team if you don't build him a stadium with taxpayers' dollars in about 2 years. And they all do it. They all keep doing it. And the fans are going, boy, that selfish, greedy player. I said, that selfish, greedy player is getting paid by a trillionaire. And he's putting his body on the line every single day for that trillionaire. And you care more about that trillionaire's little toy that he owns than the guy who's, who you supposedly love because you buy his jersey. Oh, do you burn his jersey, which doesn't hurt him at all.
No, but it does hurt the trillionaire, I suppose.
My jersey. I don't
Makes
care.
a lot of money off of those
the trillionaire
merch sales.
Oh yeah, and the trillionaires, of course, the trillionaires are the ones sold you the jersey. The player might get a small, tiny little part of it, but the owners in the NFL gets all, are the organization gets all the money from that, keeps it all, gives you a stupid jersey with a name on it that you treasure for some reason, and then when that player leaves, you burn it. Because the player, just like you, wanted a better life, so you hate him. Anyway.
God forbid people know their worth, right? People. God forbid that people know their worth and know, hey, I'm worth way more than this. It happens to me all the time. People are like,
the only worth.
Can I do this? I'm like, no. Like people wanna have like calls with me, like what we're doing right now, like on Discord. Right. And I'm like, okay, give me $200. They're like, that's a lot of money. Yeah, that's how much my time is worth. $200. I'll talk to you on a Discord call. Go for it, dude. Didn't think so. Yeah. Sorry, I know my worth. My time means a lot to me.
We wallow in our own self-worth, even though we're the only ones that's ever calculated it. Yeah. So anyway.
All right, our next segue is going to be
tell a joke. A lot. Don't you believe me?
I don't know how you're going to tell a joke about mine. I'm not sure you're going to tell a joke about mines, but I'm sure you can figure it out. We accept dark humor here, sarcasm, anything. As long as it's funny. Yes, landmines.
Because I got a mime joke. You want to hear it?
No, not yet. Tell me it later.
To catch a mime? Really easy to catch a mime. You just wait until they're caught in one of them boxes. Anyway.
Okay, let's go to this story from the Canadian Press. I don't know if it's written by anyone. Written by Dylan Robertson from the Canadian Press. And this is specifically coming out of Canada because Canada has this thing called the Ottawa Treaty. It's all about stopping the use of landmines. And they are anti-landmine advocates in Canada are pressuring Canada to do something, say something, force other countries, to stop using landmines because they're just awful. The worst invention ever when it comes to warfare, I think. Yeah, I mean, obviously you have white phosphorus and mustard gas, but at least with mustard gas, you die instantly, And you pass out and die and you suffocate. I guess suffocating isn't that great. But with landmines, somebody 100 years from now will lose their leg. And they're not even in the conflict anymore. They're going to get their leg blown off because somebody decided to put something in the wheat field, 100 years ago. So this is coming out of Ottawa. Canadian advocates are urging Ottawa to protect the 1997 treaty Canada brokered to stop the use of landmines as 6 countries on Europe's eastern flank move towards using explosive weapons. I am deeply concerned about this, said Senator Mario McFedrin. Thousands and thousands of lives have been saved because of this treaty. Global Affairs Canada says it's in talks with countries moving away from the Anti-Personnel Mine Ban Convention, often referred to as the Ottawa Treaty, which since 1999 has banned the use, production, and stockpiling and transfer of anti-personnel landmines. That's the important part, right? You can't make them either. How are you gonna? Of course, we still have IEDs, which are not landmines. They're more of what does IED stand for? I know it's in the word of IED, but basically it's you make it at home. Okay?
IED?
Yeah.
IED, improvised explosive device.
Yeah. So obviously people have still been making IEDs, but that's in the word, right? Improvised. So people are going out there and creating their own explosives in their danger of their own home. But these are military level produced landmines, right? And as long as nobody's making them, you can't put them down for the most part. Since then, Canada has spent millions of dollars to help rid the world of landmines that overwhelmingly injure and maim civilians and children, including in Ukraine. In a statement provided on Wednesday, which that was yesterday's 2nd of July, Global Affairs Canada spokesperson Louis-Carl Brizet-Lesage said Canada is aware of countries are making difficult and complex decisions about the treaty and has been ongoing dialogue with them to emphasize Canada's strong support for the Ottawa Treaty. Support for the Ottawa Convention and its universal adherence remains a core priority for Canada, he wrote. We view the conventions as one of the most successful humanitarian disarmament treaties, given its prohibition of anti-personnel landmines, which disproportionately harm civilians. And of course, you might be asking, what about tank mines and stuff? Think about tank mines and anti-vehicle mines, that they're actually weight trained, I guess. I don't know another word to say. They're engineered to only go off at a certain amount of weight. So a human being, unless they are, a ton, which I don't think there are any human beings have reached a ton in weight, won't set off any tank mines. But anti-personnel mines can probably be set off by anything as low as like a small child, right? Like a toddler. They can set off an anti-personnel landmine. So, don't let your children run around in fields if you have landmines.
Yeah, don't let your children play. Anyway.
Yeah, exactly. Right. That's why the UN like a couple weeks ago, right? They had the whole entire letting children play outside. Let's get rid of landmines so children can go outside without worrying about blowing their legs off. Unfortunately, the convention is starting to unravel. On June 29th, Ukrainian President Vladimir Zelensky signed a decree to withdraw Ukraine from the though the treaty technically bars states from exiting while engaged in an armed conflict. And it's all words, right? On June 27th, all 3 Baltic countries, Estonia, Latvia, and Lithuania, issued official notices with the United Nations that they will have each pull out of the treaty in 6 months. That would be the first time any signatories had exited the treaty. Poland and Finland are undertaking parliamentary moves to get such a step. All 6 countries have cited the growing threat from Russia to the frontline states, including the fact Moscow uses landmines and isn't a member of the treaty. Ah, yes, the classic high ground, low ground argument, right? Well, we got to meet them where they're going. If they're going to go as low as to start killing children, I guess we have to too. Mines Actions Canada condemned the rush processes to pull the 3 Baltic countries out of the convention and urged Ottawa in a statement to speak up and engage with our allies in defense of the Ottawa Treaty. In an interview, the group's head, Aaron Hunt, said European countries are usually the staunchest supporters of international law and demonstrate a double standard if they decide to pull back when under pressure. The Ottawa Treaty is one example of a global decision that there is a limit to war, and to withdraw from that when there's a threat of conflict does not speak very highly to our convictions to make war safer for the people who are not fighting, he said. Landmines can kill or maim people decades after a conflict ends, and can disproportionately harm civilians. Yeah, they weren't there when you drew your little mind map, you know? So they don't know where they are. They don't even know you put them there, right? They were in the room when you were like, oh, right, we're going to put landmines and coordinates, latitude 15 to negative 23. They weren't there. They don't know, okay? I guess the best you can do is put a huge fence saying landmines possibly in this area, and we're not going to spend any time picking them up for you. Research by the International Committee of Red Cross shows that landmines aren't useful in preventing war nor an actual conflict, which Hunt says is why the U.S. stopped producing them. He argued the recent increase in drone warfare makes landmines even less useful. Yeah, soon we're just going to be playing video games and fighting each other, right? We're not even going to be putting people on anywhere. We're gonna have no people. It's just going to be us in the sky shooting drones at each other. I won that battle. All right. Move the front line forward. We're just gonna play League of Legends to win our wars in the future. Honestly, it'd be better if we just had like a League of Legends match. You know, whoever team would win. Okay, you won the match. You can
AI is gonna win that war. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, you're gonna start having
win that
computers.
When computers start making their own computers, they're cooked. When they start mining the materials, making their own computers,
they're going to make landmines to get rid of us. That's what's going to happen.
Yeah. We're going to be sitting back in our luxury apartments with all our automatic appliances, and they're going to attack us in our sleep. Yeah.
I did not know my toaster was going to hand me so much. Anyways, yes.
Yeah,
even under the current
Alexa,
kind of
probably
more,
Alexa
I guess you could say post-modern warfare that we're currently in, right? Humans aren't really fighting wars anymore. I'm not saying there aren't any humans out there, shooting guns. We obviously, if anybody's been following Ukraine, you've definitely been seeing humans out there.
Right.
And of course, with the Gaza conflict as well, there's been humans. But in the most part, right, the things that are actually shooting each other are drones and the mines. Mines are meant to stop people from progressing towards that direction. Say, hey, we can't go west anymore because that entire western field is a landmine. We can't go there, right? But that's not going to matter if you can just take a helicopter over it, right? Oh, there's landmines there. Just take a helicopter. Or have the drones just shoot all the landmines, and then they're just all, clear a section of field, and the drones can just make all the landmines go off, and then, we can walk through there now because all landmines have been disposed of.
Right.
The point is they're useless now.
Robots.
Why are we trying to use them?
Drones can be on foot too. Drones aren't just flying. There's land drones. Little things
the dangerous Boston Dynamics dog is going to be out there blowing up landmines. McFedrin helped organize an advocacy event.
Traps. Don't forget booby traps.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway.
McFedrin helped organize an advocacy event with Humanity in Canada last month that featured Lloyd Axworthy, the former Foreign Affairs Minister who helped broker the Ottawa Treaty. McFedrin said the treaty has a hugely positive humanitarian impact. He noted that Carney government had made protections of civilians a central part of its foreign policy and has asked the government to host an event to mark 3 decades of the treaty in 2027. Brigitte Lesage wrote on behalf of the Global Affairs Canada that Ottawa will continue to highlight the impact of anti-personnel landmines on civilians and work with advocates to assess the implications of this development to explore ways to uphold and strengthen the critical norms enshrined in the treaty. Axworthy said exiting the treaty could speed up the disintegration of the global order and the suspension of other armed controls measures, particularly as countries rush to boost their military spending. You know what? Now that we're just using landmines again, let's just start throwing nukes at each other too. Who cares? Throw all these treaties in the trash can. He said Eastern European countries have legitimate security concerns, and he's not saying that's not important, but no demonstrable proof that using landmines will actually stem Russian aggression. I mean, are they stemming defense measures too? Are the landmines that Russia is putting down actually being used for anything? I think all they've done is made it too dangerous to grow wheat. I know that's what happened in the first year of the Ukraine war, right? We can't make any bread for you guys. Sorry. All our wheat fields are full of mines. And that's probably the only... And yet again, what is that? A civilian attack. Really, an attack on farmers, not really an attack on a military position. Because, I guess it breaks in a supply line. Because, we don't have wheat, we can't make bread. Our soldiers will starve to death. But that's like a long-term goal, I guess. Mostly it made the economy collapse because a bunch of people no longer had access to wheat and bread, and prices were hiked up because of that. That Eastern European countries do have a legitimate concern. Ukraine is already one of the most corrupted countries in the world with landmines, and not just Russian landmines, Ukrainian landmines, he said. The level of destruction, of killing and maiming and wounding for the next 100 years is being sown into those fields right now, and it's not necessary. The international watchdog Landmine Monitor said in a report last year that landmines were still actively being used in 2023 and 24 by Russia, Myanmar, what the fuck, Myanmar? Iran, and North Korea.
Yeah, well.
At least 3 of those people are the enemies of the Western world, so, evil. Yeah, Myanmar, what the fuck, man? I guess Myanmar is the new villain, new international villain, along with Russia, Iran, and North Korea.
Yeah, we reported on them before. We reported on them devious people before. The devious government.
Yeah, I'm just saying nobody talks about Myanmar like they talk about Iran, Fuck the Myanmar. What are they even called? Myanmarites? Myanmarians?
Burmese, maybe?
No, I don't know what they call themselves.
Burma.
They're evil now because they use landmines. Nearly 3 dozen countries have not adopted the Ottawa Convention, including some key and current past producers and users of landmines, such as, of course, the United States, China, India, Pakistan, and South Korea. Yeah, you don't tell the U.S. what to do with military stuff. If we want to plant landmines, we'll do it. But they haven't been doing it because they know it's useless. At least we can give the U.S. credit on that. They know it's pointless to be using landmines. So why are we using, what is it, the Vietnam War right now? We don't leave landmines anymore. But there's my story. A very long story about landmines because I just think they're evil. I know there's a lot of evil things war kind of came up with. For me, landmines is probably the worst. And if I had a tier list, that's on my top 13 worst military inventions. Landmines is my number 1.
All right, it's terrible.
Give me a joke.
Oh, what is the most selfish bomb in the world? It is a mine, because it's always mine.
It's all mine.
There's lots of horrible jokes about landmines.
Yes, I know. I was expecting something about losing a foot or something.
About blowing little children up, which are not funny jokes at all. Sorry.
No, it's not funny. It's more
it's
like
been to a video, so it's time to get on my Thursdays 13. All right.
Hey.
Spin the wheel.
So our segue for our 13 songs featuring Memphis, whether it's from Greece or from Tennessee or from, I don't know, other place. I'm sure there's like multiple Memphises.
Typically, Tennessee. Is there? Might be. We can look
that
up.
There's multiple Texases.
That was right. So did you spin the wheel?
Yes, I have to tell you a joke about Memphis, I guess.
Okay. All right. So we're going to do 13 songs that mention Memphis. I looked this up, and it's like, very controversial subject because I looked up in the Google machine. The Google said the city that's mentioned the most is New York City. And it says 46 songs. 46. And if you go to the Memphis website, it says there's 1,000 songs that mention Memphis. And I was like, 46 or 1,000? Which one is more? And of course, they weren't exactly honest about the fact that there's 1,000 songs because they're just listing the same song just by different artists. So I had to go through that list. Yeah. I already had my own list, but I had to find some more from their list. But I'm going to go ahead with Memphis being mentioned in more than New York City. Just simply because, to me, Memphis, first of all, doesn't rhyme with anything. Doesn't rhyme with anything. But it's in songs. New York City rhymes with a lot of crap. So does York. Ooh, Memphis doesn't rhyme with anything. So you're never putting it in a song to say, hey, what the hell rhymes with this? Hey, what the hell rhymes with this? You're putting it in Memphis because you want...
get my vest fist.
Why? Why is Memphis... Maybe you can guess why Memphis is mentioned, especially in rock and roll and country songs, right?
Pretty obvious.
That's where it started.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's where it started, right there in the Mississippi River, all around the Mississippi River is where the blues started, rock and roll started, where all of that melting pot, and that river was the first major highway in the United States, travel all the way from New Orleans to Minnesota, taking all that blues up and down the river. So Memphis, right on the Mississippi River, of course, St. Louis is on there, New Orleans, and not too far from Clarksdale, Mississippi, where the crossroads are either. So everything started in Memphis as far as music. I mean, you got Elvis, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Roy Orbison, B.B. King, Ike Turner. I mean, Memphis. And of course, even historically, Martin Luther King was assassinated there. So it's mentioned in songs under that context. So we're going to talk about the 13 songs that feature Memphis, and we're going to get going here. Number 13 is Dixie Chicken by Little Feat. Little Feat is Southern country rock band. I guess you would call them Americana. Dixie Chicken, written by, among others, Lowell George, who sings it, among other people who sing it. And of course, he mentions Memphis. I've seen the bright lights of Memphis in the Commodore Hotel, and underneath the street lamp, I met a Southern belle.
There you go. That rhymes, river, but not with Memphis. You're gonna have to give that a 4 out of 10 for not rhyming Memphis. It's Memphis.
None of these rhyme Memphis. None of them. Not one.
Oh darn!
Well,
no 10 out of 10 on this list then.
All right. Well, she took me to the river where she cast her spell in the southern moonlight, and she sang so well. Anyway, if you'll be my Dixie Chicken, I'll be your Tennessee Lamb. So you know what that Memphis was. Number 12. There's, of course, I'm going to miss a lot of songs because, like I said, there's the Google AI thing said there's only 28. But if I can find 1,000, I know there's more than 28. There's more than 28. So there's going to be songs I missed. Number 12. This is one that's featured in The Big Lebowski. Just walked in to see what condition my condition was in. And, of course, the song is more of a hippie freak-out type song, so it's more like, I'm having an acid trip. And so one of the verses says, someone painted an April Fool in big back letters on a dead-end sign. I had my foot on the gas as I left the road and blew out my mind. 8 miles out of Memphis, and I got no spare. 8 miles straight up downtown somewhere. I just dropped in to see what condition my condition is in. So, yeah, he had a blowout in Memphis. There's worse places to be stuck.
I think I've only been to Memphis once, or like that I remember being there.
Yeah, we've gone through there a couple times.
Didn't we walk?
It's on the way.
Was that Memphis or was that the other place that I can't?
It was Memphis. We toured Sun Studios. We got drumsticks.
Yeah, that was Memphis. Okay, I was like, I remember we stopped at a studio and we looked in there and it was all,
Sun Studio.
Some guy,
Sun Studio, guy
was saying in this microphone.
Yeah, Elvis. Famous guy, Elvis.
Some famous guy.
For Elvis, Elvis, Johnny Cash, Jerry Lee Lewis, Roy Orbison, and Carl Perkins all got their start at Sun Studios in Memphis. So Sam Phillips basically created rock and roll right there in that little studio. Think about it that way.
And his skin is
rock
all over the walls.
Basically, yeah. Rock and roll again is the black man's blues interpreted by white people. Because, and a lot of people in those days, believe it or not, thought Chuck Berry was white. And they saw him in person, whatever, he's good. Number 10, Big River by, we got to go. We haven't even gotten to number 11. Number 11, you've heard this, I played it for you. Train by Blackfoot, one of your few indigenous peoples rock bands out there, southern rock band, Blackfoot. Train, take me out of this town. Lord, take me out of this town. That woman I'm in love with, Lord, she's Memphis bound. Yep, she's getting the hell out of Dodge. She's gone to Memphis.
He's going to follow her out there.
He's told her, he's in love with her. But he knows he ain't got no money, and later he tells her, take that midnight train to Memphis and find yourself a money man. Oh, yeah. Because, I ain't got no money.
I'm sure she can attract somebody.
Train he's hopping. All right. And imagine the train he's hopping out of this town is a boxcar, right? He's not buying a ticket. Probably. I'm just guessing. He has no money, and his woman's leaving him, or Memphis. Number 10, Big River, Johnny Cash. Of course, this Big River is the biggest river in the United States, the Mississippi, which cuts the country in half. Big River, Johnny Cash. He's basically giving a geography lesson. He starts in St. Paul, Minnesota, and goes all the way to New Orleans, because that's where the river goes. And of course, it passes Memphis, so he's got to mention Memphis. Later on down the river, a freighter said she's been here, but she's gone. Boy, she's gone. I found her trail in Memphis, but she just walked on up the bluff. And then she raised a few eyebrows and went on down alone. So yeah, Johnny Cash stalking a woman all the way from St. Paul to New Orleans and wrote a song about it. I'm a stalker for you. Anyway, number 9. Alcohol makes its first appearance on alcohol. Black Velvet, which is a whiskey. Black Velvet by Alana Miles. This is a great song. It's getting hammered. I don't know, getting hammered on Black Velvet. Up in Memphis, the music's like a heat wave. White lightning's to drive you wild. White lightning, of course, is moonshine. Mama's baby in the heart of every girl. Love me tender, leaves him crying in the aisle. Another reference to Elvis. And the way he moved, it was a sin, so sweet and true, always wanting more, he'd leave you longing for. Oh boy, she's listening after a lot of miles. Way to go. Anyway, we're gonna have less to know. Number 8, Stuck Inside of Memphis. This is a Bob Dylan song, Stuck Inside of Mobile with the Memphis Blues again. I almost said it wrong. You know, it's bad in Memphis, but you're stuck in your song, just rip it Mobile. Man, I hate this fucking city. I wish I was stuck in Mobile. How do people in Mobile feel about this song? I've always wondered like that. I'm in Mobile, Alabama. Well, I've been to Mobile, Alabama. Special. Yeah, I've been to Mobile, Alabama. I was stuck there. I was actually stuck in there. I sang this song a lot because it was right after Hurricane Katrina. And I had to freaking, I had to do a lot of communication type stuff in Mobile Bay. Anyway, so I was stuck inside Mobile. I don't know if I had the Memphis blues, but I had the man, it's miserable here blues. Mobile had no power at that time either, and half of the I-10 bridge had collapsed, so Interstate 10 was only going 2 lanes. That's not good. Yeah. Yeah. Number 7, Traveling Band by CCR. It's in the opening line. So it doesn't rhyme with anything again, but once again, if you ain't going to Memphis, you ain't cool. Number 7, Traveling Band CCR. 737 coming out of the sky. Won't you take me down to Memphis on a midnight ride? I want to move. Praying in a track, flying across the land, trying to get a hand. Real quick song, one of their, as John Fogerty does his Little Richard impersonation. It's total Little Richard impersonation, which he did a lot, which a lot of people did. I mean, Paul McCartney, you name it. Anytime they did something like that, where they were just screaming really fast into a microphone like that, it was a Little Richard. Number 6, Honky Tonk Women by the Rolling Stones. Yeah, we got the Rolling Stones in there. Oh, yeah. The Rolling Stones loved them some Memphis. And of course, the opening line is, I met a gin-soaked barroom queen in Memphis. Oh, yeah, gin-soaked barroom queen. Haven't we all met one of those, huh?
I don't know what that means, but...
She tried to take me gin-soaked. Gin-soaked means she's it's a metaphor for being really drunk, and a barroom queen is basically a girl that hangs out in bars. So there you go. I met a gin-soaked barroom queen in Memphis. She tried to take me upstairs for a ride. Eventually she did. You find out in the song. And we find out that Honky Tonk Women give old Mick the Honky Tonk Blues. Because, hey, you're just some chick I hooked up with that won't leave me alone now, basically, I guess. I don't know. Gives them the blues. I don't know. Did not expound on that. Of course, the Honky Tonk Blues is a song by Hank Williams Sr., one of his best songs. I got the honky tonk blues. You could play Honky Tonk Women and Honky Tonk Blues consecutively, and they would melt right into each other. That's Honky Tonk Women's a tribute to Hank Williams Jr., if you ask me. Anyway, number 5, City of New Orleans. This is one of your wild cards, written by Steve Goodman, performed by most famously a lot of people, including Johnny Cash, Willie Nelson. It's American standard, written by Steve Goodman. But Arlo Guthrie, Woody Guthrie's son, had the biggest hit with it. And the final verse, it's the City of New Orleans, the train. And of course, if you don't remember the song, the chorus goes like this: "Good morning, America, how are you? Oh, don't you know me? I'm your native son. I'm the train they call the City of New Orleans. And I'll be gone 500 miles till when the day is done." I screwed up the lyrics. But the last verse goes: "Nighttime on the City of New Orleans, changing cars in Memphis, Tennessee." Of course, City of New Orleans is just a train track that runs parallel to the Mississippi River. And it starts in the north. It starts in Chicago, then hooks up to the Mississippi River, probably in St. Louis, I imagine. But City of New Orleans, changing cars in Memphis, Tennessee. Halfway home, we'll be there by morning through the Mississippi darkness, rolling to the sea. Anyway, that's the link I sent you. Steve Goodman, City of New Orleans. One of the great Americana songs. Which brings us to number 4, which is Graceland.
Songs.
Oh, yeah, I love it. City of New Orleans is one of those, it's like, oh my God, it's all about America. It's all about the city. It's all about poor people struggling, about the people that work on the train, people that take the train, people that are, and the fact that trains were disappearing as a mode of transportation in the United States. When he wrote that song, it's very, what you call poignant. That's the word, a very poignant song. Number 4 is Graceland by Paul Simon, and that goes without explanation. Graceland is the mansion of Elvis, and it's located in Memphis, Tennessee. And the chorus goes, "Going to Graceland, Memphis, Tennessee," on and on and on. Number 4, Graceland by Paul Simon. Right? In fact, Graceland was just a place where Elvis lived until he died, and then it became probably the number 1 tourist attraction in the United States for like 5 or 6 years. Number 2.
Really? Well, I mean, he just died. Right?
Number 3. Yeah, Elvis became a pilgrimage for everybody, right? There's even movies made about it, right? 3, Proud Mary by CCR, also done by Ike. We just mentioned Ike Turner, who made his bones in Memphis. Ike and Tina Turner covered Proud Mary and had a bigger hit than even CCR had, and CCR had a number 2 hit with it. So Ike and Tina had number 1 hit with it. Proud Mary, of course, he cleaned a lot of plates in Memphis and pumped a lot of pain down in New Orleans. So that means he's living on that river, rolling on the river. That's right. And if you go down to the river, blah, blah, blah. Right. And Proud Mary is, of course, it's a riverboat. Proud Mary is the name of a riverboat. And if you did not know the name of the song was Proud Mary, you probably would have been looking for a song called Rolling on the River, because
they say it a lot.
Number 2 is Pride in the Name of Love by U2. And the only time Memphis is a song about Martin Luther King. And the only time Memphis is mentioned is early morning, April 4, shots ring out in the Memphis sky. Although it didn't happen in the early morning, I guess for lyrical, poetic, what do they call it? Poetic license. Early morning sounded better. Although I will give this to Bono, who wrote the lyrics. It was early morning in Ireland, where he was. So there you go.
Was it? Or did it happen in the evening?
Yeah.
It happened in the evening. And so, 6 hours later.
Memphis is on,
6 hours
Memphis
ahead.
is on Central U.S. time.
Okay, 7 hours ahead.
And I believe Ireland is on Greenwich Mean Time, and Memphis is on U.S. Central Time. So if it happened any time after 9 o'clock, it was the next morning, early. So, as I've been at the Lorraine Motel, if you want to go to Memphis, there's the place you go. You go and look at the Lorraine Motel. Yeah. It is a permanent historical marker. And number 1, of course, Memphis, Tennessee. Right. Number 1 song, and it's called Memphis, Tennessee by Chuck Berry. You don't have to look for the name of the city it's in the title. There's a lot of songs with Memphis in the title. I specifically did not include them because Memphis, Tennessee is the Memphis song. It's called Memphis, Tennessee, for crying out loud. Chuck Berry, of course, long distance information, get me Memphis, Tennessee. And he's trying to get a hold of Marie. And at the end of the song, you find out that Marie is not a long-lost girlfriend that the parents didn't want. Marie's actually his 6-year-old daughter. Yeah, he misses his little daughter, and she's off in Memphis, and he's off somewhere else, and he can't be with her. So, and his mom, apparently, they're split. So they're Splitsville, and he just wants to talk to his little girl. This song, covered by many people, including Johnny Rivers. I think Johnny Rivers had a hit with this. Lots of people had a hit with this. It's a great song. Of course, Chuck Berry made rock and roll an art form, basically. Anyway, there's your list. I hope you got a segue for me for your extremely long, drawn-out list.
I do have, I believe, at least I think I do, have a couple of jokes here. Let's look at the first one I read that I thought was funny, which is, a Memphis barbecue joint owner told me, our ribs are so good, they'll make you want to slap your mama. Replied, but what if my mama made the ribs? He just winked and said, then you thank her twice. Another one, Memphis weather forecast. Right. 70% chance of humidity, 20% chance of sun, 100% chance someone saying, it's a dry heat. Yeah, 70% humidity. It's a dry heat. Okay. A tourist asked a Memphian, what's the best way to experience the city? Memphian replied, get yourself some barbecue, some blues, and a good dose of Mammon Sir. There you go. There's all your advice for if you ever find yourself in Memphis. Make sure you get the barbecue. It sounds like the barbecue is the place to go. I've never had Memphis barbecue. I guess I missed my chance. Not good?
Yeah, you can just you can just get the ingredients and make it yourself. It ain't like it's some
that's true.
Thing.
I just need a long grill, and I just need to leave it out in the sun for 20 hours. Back.
I'm not a barbecue snob. I don't really sit there and go, St. Louis has the best barbecue. You're insane. It's Kansas City. You're crazy. It's Chicago.
I didn't even know St. Louis had barbecue. I'm a bit of a layman
Everybody
here.
Does
because,
it, right?
Well, the funny thing is, right, the joke
North
here
Carolina
in the Netherlands
is
that Dutch people do not know how to do barbecue. Okay, that's kind of the joke. They don't know how to do it.
All right.
And I do have a couple of friends who went out of their way to get to know how to do barbecue. And one of them bought a book about barbecue from Iowa or Idaho, one of those places.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, huh? Never even heard of Idaho barbecue. But I guess it exists. Yeah, I'm a bit of a layman when it comes to barbecue. For me, barbecue is either Texan barbecue or, I don't know. That's it.
Idaho barbecue. Idaho barbecue sounds like a euphemism for burning your cross on somebody's lawn.
Oh,
anyway.
We got the jokes out here. Wait.
Well, Idaho is your white supremacist headquarters for the northwest. It's quite well known. Idaho is full of white supremacists, and that's why they're
and that's why their barbecue sucks. Anyway, they don't put any flavor in it. They have no seasoning. Exactly.
Let's do that next. Let's do the next.
Do you want to tell another joke, or do you want me to re-roll the segue?
Yeah, re-roll.
Okay.
Well, depends what the joke is. What's the subject?
Subject, for me, is Palestine and more people having artists to go up there going, hey, let people not commit genocide. Let's not do genocide, guys. Too hard.
I invoke the 2 spins are in a row rule where I can cancel.
All right, this will be easier. A non sequitur. You can just talk about something completely unrelated.
I want to buy a vowel. Can I buy a vowel? No.
Yeah, okay. your vowel is Palestine. Okay. Let's go into our culture segment here. Let me get comfortable. This is coming off of Euronews Culture by Theo Ferrand with a P. Wait, this is not the right This isn't the story I wanted to cover. This is about something else. Go back.
No.
Where did I go? I've gone somewhere crazy. Oh no.
Play the hold music.
Okay, I found the article. Okay, I found the article again. This is from David Morquand on Your News Culture. Moved by Irish rockers Fontaines, DC, comes as both Kneecap and Rob Violin are under investigation by the police for their pro-Palestinian comments at Glastonbury. So now all of the kind of punk people, the going against the grind artists are going to start bringing Palestine up because fuck you and stop telling people how to talk about it. BBC official broadcaster for Glastonbury has now said it will no longer live broadcast high-risk performances. You're too high risk, so we won't show you on TV. Irish rockers Fontaines, DC invited a pro-Palestinian group on stage at their festival slot at Roskilde, Denmark, one of the largest music festivals in Europe and the largest in the Nordic countries. The band brought out the activist group mid-performance, showed their solidarity with the people of Gaza, and led chants in both English and Arabic. There's a footage from Twitter that shows it and stuff, but we don't need to watch that. I think you guys probably get what's happening. Just imagine a huge group of people saying, hey, stop killing people, genocide is bad, and wow, I can't believe we have to say this, and we're under investigation for saying genocide is bad. Fontaines DC also praised British punk rap duo Bob Violin for voicing their support for Palestine during their gig on the West Coast last weekend. Bob Violin projected a message reading Free Palestine. The United Nations has called it a genocide. The BBC calls it a conflict onto the screen behind them. Finally, I know what it said. We're talking about this story, I think, on Monday. I was like, I have no idea and they're not telling me. They're not telling me what the thing they wrote down behind them said. That's what the quote was. Free Palestine. United Nations has called it a genocide. BBC calls it a conflict. How dare they criticize the BBC as they're being put on a Glastonbury live show. They can't do that. They can't criticize us. Onto the screen. Also led chants of both free Palestine and death to the IDF, Israel Defense Force, more like the Israel Genocide Force. Glastonbury organizers issued a statement saying they were appalled by the chants. UK Culture Secretary Lisa Nandy said that I have no backbone and they are the big... No, that's not what she said. Lisa Nandy said the BBC's decision to broadcast the performance shows a problem of leadership. Nandy also said in Parliament that chanting death to the IDF is equivalent to calling for the death of every single Israeli Jew. Parliament that has been criticized online because I just don't understand, man. This would be like me, who's currently living in the Netherlands, right, and is more affected by stuff that happens here than saying, how dare you criticize the Portuguese military? Like, what? Why do I care about the Portuguese military? They're not doing it.
Right.
The IDF is not doing anything for the UK, as far as I'm concerned. They're not doing anything for the UK. So why the hell are we defending them like they're a branch, of the British military, right? No, you can't talk about the IDF like that because their government gives us money. Okay. Okay. I just think it's very weird right now.
We sell them bombs.
Just very weird right now. It's like if I started saying, oh man, Iraq really fucked up and all those, whatever, U.S. Marines in Iraq killed civilians, and then the British came and said, how dare you attack the U.S. military? They're perfect. They've never done anything bad. That's so weird. It's so weird to see another country defending another country's military. Glastonbury organizer issued a statement saying they're appalled. We got a, MP without a backbone saying, this is let's attribute everything to anti-Semitism because that won't make the word mean nothing later. In a statement on Tuesday, Bob Violin said they were not for the death of Jews, Arabs, or any other race or group. Rather, they were for dismantling of a violent military machine. They added they were distractions from the story in Gaza, and that whatever sanctions they received would also be a distraction. You know what? Stop the genocide. That's all I would say. If I went to this, when I had to go to some sort of PR campaign, right? Because my band is getting lambasted in the media, I'd just be like, stop genocide. And that's all I would say. That's all I've got to say. Regarding the police investigation, the Avon and Somerset police released the following statement. This has been recorded as a public incident at this time while our inquiries are at the early stage. The investigation will be evidence-led and will be closely considered all appropriate legislation, including relating to hate crimes. There's absolutely no place in society for hate. Neighboring policing team. Yeah, you're not allowed to hate people, even people who hate you and want you to die. You're not allowed to hate them. I'm a strong believer of do not tolerate the intolerable. Personally. Anyways, I don't really want to talk about this. I want to just talk about the other stuff. Additionally, the Radar Festival, which takes place in the OT Victoria Warehouse in Manchester, wrote yesterday, Bob Violin will not be appearing at the Radar Festival this weekend. Oh, they're blacklisting him everywhere because he stands up against genocide. Typical. The festival has not explained why the duo no longer appears on Saturday night, but everyone can assume. The group shared the festival's statement on their Instagram story, adding the caption, "Silence is not an option. We will be fine. The people of Palestine are hurting. Manchester will be back." Latest development is this ongoing story is that the BBC has said it will no longer live broadcast any high-risk performances. The British broadcaster said it would trigger that errors were made before during the Glastonbury performance. Now, I guess as soon as they put up that Palestine thing in the background, they probably should have cut the live stream. So they wanted to avoid looking like complete twats, but they already are looking like complete twats no matter what they do. Fontaines DC have frequently used their platform to speak out. August last year, the band canceled a concert in Istanbul with solidarity in Palestine. I think we even talked about that. And earlier this year, they used their set at Primavera Sound in Barcelona, Spain to accuse Israel of genocide. The band has teamed up with Dublin's Bohemians FC, designed a football shirt to raise funds for people in Palestine. You can buy a kind of light blue with pink striped Fontaines DC football jersey, and all the proceeds will go to Palestine and also Medical Aid Palestine and also the Palestinian national team. So that if you want to support Palestine in a monetary way, that's one avenue you can take. Sure made headlines last month when activist Greta Thunberg was pictured wearing it on the Freedom Thread. Nice. Fontaines this year are currently touring Europe with upcoming dates in Belgium, France, Luxembourg, UK, Germany, and the Netherlands. The latest album, Romance, was one of their favorite releases. By they, I mean Euronews Culture. That is one of their favorite releases of last year. What they wrote in their best albums of 2024 list was, well, there was the looming worry that Irish post-punk Fontaines DC had peaked with their stellar third album, 2022's Intify. They confidently confirmed that they are not to be underestimated. More than that, their new album is cemented that they're one of the most consistently exciting modern bands around. Every one of their releases are leaps and bounds in terms of songwriting and sound evolution, and Romance feels like a consecration. So, if you are pro-Palestine and you're anti-genocide, go buy a jersey, wear that outside, and probably, listen to their albums so they can make more money and don't have to worry about being blacklisted like Bob Nylon. I guess listen to Bob Nylon too. Did I say Bob Nylon? That's not his name.
Bob Nylon?
Bob Violin. My brain, I'm having a stroke. Bob Violin, I guess go support him too, as he's about to get blacklisted in the UK, and every single thing he's probably been signed up for have been cancelled. He's gonna have nowhere to go but Ireland, it seems. I think only Ireland will support them, because Ireland was the first country, actual government, to say, hey, Israel, what you're fucking doing is a genocide and we're taking you to court. So at least you'll be safe in Ireland, and if you want to go to a place and support an economy that is anti-genocide, I guess Ireland is the place to go. Let's all just blacklist England. Fuck England. I've never been a fan of them. The BBC is questionable. I mean, they're a corporation.
Just hating on Heathrow, hating on England.
Yeah, fuck England. Yeah. I'm Scotland.
Yep.
Scotland.
Yeah, that's right.
Give me your non sequitur as I rant about England for this entire show.
I could really go. You went on a non sequitur right there. Yeah. I was about to say, well, I miss the days when musicians were just complete thieves who just did what they were told, right? You know, and the biggest hit song in 1953 in the United States was "How Much Is That Doggy in the Window?" Oh boy, that raised a lot of eyebrows.
Yeah, and that was the only thing happening in the 50s, of course. People buying dogs. Korean War? Who? I don't even know that guy.
It's a big hit in England. The big hit in England simultaneously for a different artist. So yeah, how much is that doggy in the window? That's what they want. England wants 1953. You know, the Queen was new. The Queen was new. We still have fire, right? Yeah, let's bring it back there. Never happened in England. It's over. It's over.
Yeah, the majority of talent that has risen out of England is all due to the industry's just complete blind following, you know? What problems? There are no problems here.
They used
England's
to say,
perfect.
Yeah, right. They used to say the sun never sets on the British Empire. Well, it did set. And it's becoming a little less relevant every day. With their, oh, Mo, we got to hold on to our hegemony. Anyway,
Good luck with that, buddy. Good luck with that.
Yeah, there's your non sequitur.
Right, I'm going to have to come up with something that's associated with anything in this day in history, which should be easy enough to do. So, take us away.
Do you have the okay?
Yeah, right. I've got everything.
Have the little trombone ready. Might have a little trombone ready for the American Confederacy.
Oh,
now, 1608, Samuel de Champlain, 1916, founded the city of Quebec, the first permanent European base in Canada. Lake Champlain, which is between Vermont and New York State, is named after him. 1775, George Washington officially assumed command of the Continental Army during the American Revolution, several weeks after being appointed to the post. Okay, that happened 250 years ago today.
Damn.
1856, the U.S. House of Representatives voted to admit Kansas to statehood under the anti-slavery resolution known as the Topeka Constitution, despite the opposition of the Senate and President Franklin Pierce. A stupid... Franklin Pierce wanted a slave state. Another shitty president who thought,
what a weird thing to like aim for, too.
One of them things. There's nothing wrong with
free economy. I want workers that I don't need to pay. Just let the line rise up.
All men are created equal? Declaration of Independence? Oh, fuck that thing. Anyway. 1962, Tom Cruise was born on this day. Happy birthday to Tom Cruise. He turned 63. One of Hollywood's most popular leading men, is known for his clean cut, good looks, and versatility. I don't know about versatility. I'm lost on that one. What versatility? He plays the same guy a lot. That's like calling Nicolas Cage versatile, right? It's like, he's playing the same guy. So Tom Cruise, again, one of your absolute loons in Hollywood. Just an
cult leader, don't forget.
19...
Everyone always forgets he's a cult leader.
Yeah, again, don't worry. His religion is a special religion. Yeah. Anyway, 1969, just weeks after being fired from rock band The Rolling Stones, British musician Brian Jones became, I think, the second member of the 27 Club when he was found dead in his swimming pool. So Brian Jones died in this, probably died the previous day, perhaps. Rolling Stones fired him for being a drug addict and being basically useless. And, so he couldn't handle that. And he could not handle his girlfriend being stolen by Keith Richards. And I'm like, you're a rock star. Go find another girlfriend. Ain't that hard. You could not go outside your door without finding a girlfriend, Mr. Brian Jones. Get over it. 1971.
Well, maybe he was just the one for her, you know? Just loved her.
I guess.
Didn't love him back.
Anita Pallenberg did not stick around with Heath Richards either, so... Sorry, you got all depressed about nothing. About a girl that was just gonna run through his heroin collection, because they were all a bunch of heroin addicts back in those days. Keith Richards and Yeah, they did go. I don't think Keith Richards was a heroin addict just yet, but Brian Jones definitely was. He was on a lot of stuff. 1971, American singer and songwriter Jim Morrison. 2 years to the day after that 27 Club member, Jim Morrison joined the 27 Club. So this is a 27 Club day. He was found dead in Paris at the age of 27. The official cause of death was heart failure. So July 3rd, very famous for rock stars dropping dead. 1976, Israeli commando squad led by Don Shomron launched by a rescue of hostages held by an airplane hijackers in Entebbe, Uganda. This is back when it was pleasant and cheerful to cheer for Israeli commandos. Boy, those were the days. They rescued a plane from hijackers and nobody was killed, and they killed all the hijackers. Way to go, Israeli commandos, right? But these days, we could give a shit about our Israeli commandos. They're falling out of our favor. It's like,
I'd have to see the actual thing that happened, right? But I think it's not impressive that they had to kill them all. Because there's ways to capture people without killing them. But a lot of soldiers are just like, ask questions later.
Okay, I guess you would have to see it, because if that's what you think about it, you probably should see the actual operation. How is it?
That's what I'm saying.
Again,
I don't know anything about the operation, and maybe there's reasons, like I said.
If you just basically don't think military are necessary whatsoever, you're never going to like it. So I don't know what to tell you. But again, if you've got a hijacked plane full of innocent people and it's in Entebbe Airport in Libya, and all of these people are being held by Ugandan terrorists, and they're threatening to shoot them unless they get their way. And if I'm a passenger, I'm grateful. And I'm a family of a passenger, I'm grateful. I didn't ask for this. Anyway, in 1985, the comedy Back to the Future, directed by Robert Zemeckis, starring Michael J. Fox, was released in American theaters. We talked about that a few weeks ago. A huge hit, it was followed by several sequels. The first one didn't really scientifically measure up with any kind of real... Wait, this thing happened. Why didn't that thing happen? I spent all my time watching that movie going, why did this happen? Why didn't that happen? Why didn't that happen? Why is it... Hey, how come only this thing changed, How come that building's still there? It shouldn't be there. All kinds of crap, right? 2013, following massive demonstrations against his rule, President Mohamed Morsi was moved from office by military action. The Egyptians got tired of his shit. Our featured event is 1863, the Civil War. The Battle of Gettysburg ended following 3 days of intense fighting. Casualties numbered more than 50,000. The Battle of Gettysburg ended on this day in 1863 with a victory for Union forces. Was seen as a turning point of American Civil War. It was a turning point because the Confederacy never, ever, ever went that far again. They never entered Maryland again. They never entered Pennsylvania again. They went in full retreat down to Virginia, where they tried to rally and are eventually defeated. But they would have been crushed if the army would have pursued them while they were on the run. They just let them leave and regroup instead of just annihilating them while they're on the run, which is what you do in war. Unfortunately, you got to get them when they have no defense. Otherwise, they're just going to fight you when they're fortified, which they waited until they were fortified, and mass casualties ensued for the next 2 years almost. There's your history lesson. Our feature biography is Leos Janáček, a Czech composer born July 30, 1854 in Hucvaldy, Bohemia, died August 12, 1928 in Ostrava, Czechoslovakia. Other birthdays today: George Sanders, Russian-born British actor, born 1906. Audra McDonald, American actress and singer, born 1970. Julian Assange, Australian computer programmer and WikiLeaks guy who accused a rapist, born in 1971. In 1987, Sebastian Vettel, German race car driver, was born. First, Julian Assange helping Russia every chance he got. So if you defend him, that's fine. But again, just realize he was giving shit to Russia so they could tamper with our elections. Oh, I know that's just an accusation, but Again, you're hacking people for a reason. You're not hacking people to be nice.
And the only thing I'll give Assange credit for is just transparency, because the government wasn't giving it. That's for sure. That's all I'll give him credit for.
Who knows how many secrets he gave away?
Yeah, that's all I'll give him credit for. Transparency, which is a hard thing to get these days.
Yep. It's hard to understand what this guy's motivation is. It seems like he just wants everybody to suffer for his discoveries or whatever.
Well, I don't know. Some people, right? Some people have a different point of view of what justice is. For him, that's what justice was.
Right.
That's his motivation. He thought it was, revealing the truths about certain things is what he felt was the right thing to do. And we can completely disagree with, if that was right or wrong. That's allowed.
Days. National days today. Besides that, right? Besides being Julian Assange's birthday, it's National Compliment Your Mirror Day, National Eat Your Beans Day. Eat your beans. Eat the beans. The magical fruit. National Chocolate Wafer Day and National Fried Clams Day. Fried clams. I love me some fried clams. Ooh,
that sounds nice. If only I knew a place to get clams. Right.
Just sprinkle some lemon juice over them. Dip them in maybe some... Whatever you like to dip them in. Fried clams. Yeah. So those are your days, your spins, your news, your mispronunciations, your bad jokes, your bad puns, your limericks. Everything for this day, July 3rd, 2025, on Before Fried Clams and Beans and Chocolate Wafers.
So many things we can eat today. That's a whole meal. Okay.
Eat your beans. Eat them.
I guess in a kind of associating segue, I did look up what happened. This is crazy, actually. This is insane. The coincidence here is not a coincidence. Okay. This is a shorter bit of what happened in this Israeli commandos, what is it called? Entebbe raid. So this is like the
raid at Entebbe. Entebbe.
So, initiating the operation at nightfall on July 3rd, 1976, Israeli transport planes flew 100 commandos over 4,000 kilometers, or 2,500 miles, to Uganda for the rescue effort. Over the course of 90 minutes, 102 of the hostages were rescued successfully, with 3 having been killed. One of the dead hostages, Dura Block, was murdered by Ugandan authorities at a hospital. It wasn't even on the plane. This was somewhere else. Shortly after the Israeli rescue operation began, he had fallen ill during a hijacking and was removed from the plane for treatment prior to the commandos' arrival. The Israeli military suffered 5 wounded and 1 killed. The only person killed in this operation who was Israeli from the IDF was Yonatan Netanyahu, the older brother of Benjamin Netanyahu. That is a crazy coincidence. There is no way he didn't use that. I swear to you, right? My brother died defending Israelis. Elect me as your president. I swear. I bet you he did something like that.
But you got to understand, everybody in Israel goes in the military. Everybody in Israel goes in the military.
The coincidence that his brother was the only one to die in this, people consider a heroic rescue.
You're right.
Crazy to me. Okay. Anyways,
he's just cynical enough to do that. You're right. Yeah. He's cynical enough to just
commandos killed all of the hijackers and 45 Ugandan soldiers, and 11 of Uganda's MiG-17, MiG-21s were destroyed. Those are, I don't know what, machine guns, I think? Gun emplacement. Over the course of the operation in Uganda, Israel received support from Kenya, and the president of Uganda subsequently issued orders for the Ugandan army to kill all Kenyans living in Uganda, leading to all deaths of 245 Kenyan Ugandans.
That would be
exodus of around 3,000 Kenyans from Uganda. So that's kind of the result of this hijacking, was a genocide of Kenyans from Uganda because of the Ugandan president. So there you go, fun little story, some history lesson, because I never heard of this. I wasn't even alive when this happened. Of course, I never heard of it.
The president of Uganda, the leader of Uganda at that time, was, of course, Idi Amin, who is a famous cannibal. famous for
Really?
eating
Okay.
his enemies. Like, yeah, it wasn't enough for him to kill people who are against him. He had to eat them too. Yeah, so yeah, he was what you call a
That is
dictator.
a thing in certain cultures. You gain the
Yeah.
strength of those that you by eating them.
Like,
Humanities,
yeah, like barbaric cultures will live nowhere near civilization. Yeah.
But anyways, I just thought that was a really. I can't believe that the coincidence of Benjamin Netanyahu, the current prime minister, being the only soldier to die
crazy,
during this
right?
hijacking.
That is wacky.
Wild.
That is
Yeah, that's
wacky.
wild.
But yeah,
But,
that was one of
that's-
your. That was one of your.
That was one of my.
Right. Time for this mic drop, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. There's no international
Almost up
days
against
of the
the
week
moon.
today, so we'll have to wait till the weekend for those from the UN. This has been Allison here from the Netherlands and Roger from the US, East Coast of the US. As we talk another Thursday 13, go listen to some songs about Memphis and maybe daydream about driving down the main street and listen to the local country bars and whatever rock and roll.
Go to Memphis. Go to Memphis, get some fried clams.
Yeah, maybe they have some there. Fresh from the
Yeah, there's
Mississippi.
clams in Mississippi.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mississippi has shellfish.
And I guess to try this Memphis barbecue that supposedly is to die for. I guess you'll slap your mom for it, I should say.
No idea.
Slap your mom for it.
Oh, try that Dixie chicken. Try that Dixie chicken, man. The Dixie
Oh,
chicken.
yeah, of course.
And go to Graceland.
Go to Graceland. We will see you tomorrow for our Friday News Dump. We're going to cover all the stories we may have missed this week or things that are happening before the weekend, so you don't have to worry about it. You can have a worry-free weekend and enjoy the good weather or enjoy the not good weather wherever you live. So don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on those notifications, you get notified when we go live. And here is our Memphis-upped mic drop moment.
Riding on the city
We're just playing the whole thing.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Central, Monday morning,
Look at this guy wearing his overalls.
There's 15 cars and 15
Steve Goodman's the guy who wrote this song, and he died at the age of 36 after being discovered by Chris Christopherson.
Oh, Chris Christopherson. We had an entire obituary for that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Like last year, I think.
Passing towns that have no name and freight yards full of old black men.
Arlo Guthrie recorded this at a top 10 hit. Arlo has a great story about this too. Because this guy, Steve Goodman, bought him a beer and said, "You gotta listen to my song. I'll buy you a beer." And Arlo Guthrie made him play it like 3 times while he drank his beer. I'm a slow drinker, he said. And Arlo Guthrie said, "I'm recording that."
Sounds good to me. I kind of do miss the era of, like we talked about this in yesterday's mic drop too, right? I do miss the era of just telling a story in a song, right?
The sons of Pullman porters,
Just like a
and the sons
beginning,
of
middle, and end
engineers
story.
all ride their daddy's magic carpet. It's made of steel.
Making up stories about people.
I mean-
too, right? Well, we both like doing that, right?
Yeah,
Like people watching and saying that guy is going to his dentist appointment and he's getting making up a story about a guy you don't know.
America, how are you? And don't you know me? I'm your native son.
Also, he was a great guitar picker too, which he's not going to demonstrate in this song probably, but he did play as a musician in a lot of people's songs.
Yeah, studio
On
musician.
tour, right?
Yeah. Oh, live.
Not
live
even
musician
studio. They
too,
took him on tour. Oh yeah, they took him on tour. He was the guy. He was the guy you took on tour. And he just said, "Okay, I need somebody to pick guitar in the middle of this song."
I mean,
for
that
3
was a
minutes."
pretty good show off of picking. Just going to
Yeah.
the what is it?
It's
The
nighttime
third
on
string
the
and
city
skipping
of New Orleans,
fourth string.
and we're changing cars.
Yeah,
in
he had a lot of
Memphis,
talent,
Tennessee.
and he died at 36 of cancer, which is
Halfway
horrible.
home, we'll be
Cancer always takes the good
there
one,
by
man.
morning. Through the Mississippi darkness, rolling to the
If you're a
sea.
bad person who's died of cancer, we need to. That's our next 13 list. 13 people who actually deserve to die of cancer.
And the old steel rail,
Yeah,
it ain't
at least we
heard
got-
the news.
He got to write some great songs. He also wrote You Never Call Me By My Name, which was a hit for David Allan Coe. He co-wrote that with John Prine, but John Prine was his best friend. John Prine died of COVID a couple years ago.
Oh, really?
John Prine was his best friend. John Prine was his best friend, and when Chris Christopherson discovered Steve Goodman said, "You got to hear John Prine." And Chris Christopherson ended up taking both of them to New York City.
Nice.
So Steve Goodman not only is like the best friend you ever had. Jeez.
What an inspirational journey.
Gone a long, long time when day is done.
Goodbye, New Orleans. And goodbye, Steve.
Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.